The story of this 1970 Dodge Challenger RT begins in silence. For decades, it sat untouched inside an old barn, protected from the outside world, but slowly consumed by time. Rust spread across its body, moisture weakened its steel, and dust settled over every surface. The once powerful muscle car had become little more than a forgotten memory. The restoration began with a careful inspection to understand what could be saved and what would need to be rebuilt. Once removed from the barn, years of dirt and debris were washed away, revealing both hidden damage and the car's original character. Every component was removed, labeled, and stored before the body was stripped to bare metal. Damaged steel panels were replaced with precision-made sections, carefully welded into place and shaped to match the original factory lines. Countless hours of sanding, measuring, and refining followed until every curve looked exactly as it had when the Challenger first rolled off the production line. The final step of this phase was sealing the restored body with epoxy primer, protecting the metal and preparing it for paint. The Challenger had taken its first major step from forgotten relic to future showpiece. The Challenger had finally reached one of the most exciting moments in its restoration. After weeks of metal fabrication, sanding, and preparation, the body entered the paint booth. A high-build sealer was applied first, creating a perfectly uniform surface that would allow the final finish to achieve maximum depth and durability. The first coat of factory-correct plum-crazy purple immediately transformed the appearance of the car. What had been a dull shell of rust and faded paint now began to resemble the legendary muscle car enthusiasts remembered. Additional coats intensified the richness of the color, while careful attention ensured every panel received an even finish. With the base color complete, the iconic black RT graphics were carefully measured and applied using factory specifications. Precision masking ensured crisp edges and perfect alignment. Several coats of premium clear coat followed, sealing the finish beneath a deep protective gloss. Once fully cured, the paint underwent wet sanding and multi-stage machine polishing. This meticulous process eliminated tiny imperfections and produced a mirror-like reflection that highlighted every curve of the Challenger's bold design. Meanwhile, the original 426 Hemi V8 engine was completely rebuilt. Every internal component was disassembled, cleaned, measured, and inspected. Worn parts were replaced with high-quality components, while reusable parts were restored to original specifications. The engine block received its distinctive Hemi orange finish before new pistons, bearings, camshaft, cylinder heads, intake system, and ignition components were installed with exact precision. The completed engine was carefully lowered back into the freshly restored engine bay, where polished chrome accents and factory-style details recreated the appearance of a brand-new Challenger. Attention then shifted to the chassis. The suspension, steering, braking, and fuel systems were rebuilt with new components designed to preserve the car's original character while providing dependable performance. Stainless steel fuel lines, a new exhaust system, upgraded disc brakes, and a fully restored undercarriage completed the mechanical restoration. Inside the cabin, fresh black vinyl bucket seats, restored instruments, new carpeting, authentic trim, and a factory-style wiring harness transformed the interior into a space that felt true to the Challenger's original design. By the end of this phase, the car was no longer just a restoration project. It had become a nearly complete muscle car, ready for its first heartbeat and its long-awaited return to the open road. Months of careful planning, skilled craftsmanship, and thousands of hours of work had finally led to this unforgettable day. Every damaged panel had been repaired, every mechanical system had been rebuilt, and every detail had been restored with patience and precision. The Challenger that once sat forgotten beneath layers of rust and dust was ready to return to life. Fresh oil flowed through the rebuilt 426 Hemi V8. Coolant filled the cooling system. Brake fluid reached every line, and the fuel system was checked one final time. After a thorough inspection, the battery was connected, and the moment everyone had been waiting for finally arrived. The ignition key turned slowly. For a brief second, the workshop fell completely silent. Then the starter engaged. The engine fired. The unmistakable sound of the legendary Hemi echoed through the building, filling the room with the deep rumble that made this engine famous. Months of effort had been rewarded in a single unforgettable moment. Every mechanic smiled as the engine settled into a smooth idle, proving that the Challenger's heart was beating once again. With the mechanical systems fully tested, the car rolled forward under its own power for the first time in decades. The steering felt tight, the brakes responded confidently, and the suspension absorbed every bump exactly as it should. This wasn't simply an old car that looked beautiful. It was once again a machine built to be driven. The final detailing process elevated the restoration even further. Every panel was polished until it reflected the workshop like a mirror. Chrome trim sparkled under the lights, the glass became crystal clear, and the interior looked almost exactly as it would have when the Challenger first left the factory in 1970. Every badge, every stripe, every fastener, and every finish reflected the team's commitment to authenticity. When the workshop doors opened, sunlight illuminated the rich plum-crazy purple paint for the first time. The reflections flowed across the bodywork as the Challenger rolled slowly outside, revealing lines that had been hidden beneath rust for nearly half a century. Returning to the old barn where the journey began created one of the most emotional scenes of the entire project. Standing in front of the same weathered building, the restored Challenger symbolized what passion and dedication can accomplish. The split-screen comparison between the abandoned wreck and the finished restoration revealed a transformation that seemed almost impossible. The final road test was more than a drive, it was a celebration. The rebuilt Hemi delivered effortless power, the exhaust note echoed across open roads, and the Challenger once again captured the spirit that made it one of the greatest muscle cars of its era. Everywhere it traveled, people stopped to admire a vehicle that had been rescued from history instead of being forgotten. This restoration reminds us that classic cars are more than machines. They represent engineering, craftsmanship, memories, and a connection to the past. Saving them ensures those stories continue for future generations. Thank you for joining us on this complete restoration journey, from abandoned barn find to showroom masterpiece. If you enjoyed the transformation, subscribe for more full-length restoration films and share your favorite classic car in the comments. The next forgotten legend is already waiting for its second chance.